This story is absolutely crazy. Watch this with Tim Tebow and what happened. Tim Tebow obviously was a famous college quarterback, NFL player, radical for Christ. But check this out on one of his biggest games that he ever played. What happened?
There's been so many times in my life where I felt unworthy or unqualified, but God would just do something so cool in the midst of it. And one of those times was when I was a junior at the University of Florida, and we were getting ready to play Tennessee. And I see some of my teammates putting different eye blacks under their eyes, and they're putting like their mom's name or their area code under their eyes. And so I start to think, I wonder if I could put something under my eyes that maybe could encourage someone or inspire someone. So I was like, well, God bless, I don't know. And I was like, well, Philippians 4:13, I could do that. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I was like, that'll be good for a football player. So I put it under my eyes. We were blessed to win because it was Tennessee. And it really wasn't that big of a deal. After the game, a couple local newspapers wrote about it, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But I kept wearing it under my eyes every single game. And as probably a lot of you know, Gator fans are very passionate. So 4, 5, 6 weeks later, they're selling it at the Gator bookstore, at the Florida Library. You have thousands of fans showing up to games wearing Philippians 4:13 under their eyes. And I honestly believe half of them don't even know what it means. I had one guy, his name was Phil, come up to me and say, hey, did you wear that under your eyes for me? It's like, no, it's a Bible verse.
Guys, isn't it unbelievable if you'll just take a step to like the power that people have who have influence, and God wants to give you influence about when you do something, the example that can actually just literally infiltrate somebody's life where they begin to copy you. They didn't even know what it meant, but because they love Tim Tebow, he's a great quarterback, they were wearing the scriptures. That's the power of getting influence.
What are you talking about? And so we get to the SEC championship game at the end of the year, and we're getting ready to run out of the tunnel. And football's kind of one of those things where you have such tunnel vision. It's just one thing at a time, one thing at a time. And as I was getting ready to run out of the tunnel, I really felt like God was putting in my heart to change the verse. I was like, really, right now? But I realized that if we won, we'd be playing a national championship on one of the biggest stages that I might ever get. And so that would be the right opportunity to change the verse. And so we were blessed to win that game. And the next 6 weeks leading up to the national championship, I was agonizing and really contemplating what verse I was going to go with. And God kept bringing it to my heart and my head, John 3:16, because it's the essence of our Christianity. It's the essence of our hope. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. It's what gives us hope as Christians. So I decided to go with that. And so 2 days before the game, I went up to my parents' hotel room in Miami, Florida, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I've decided to change the verse, and we're going to go with John 3:16. My mom.
You know that verse? Quote it. Say it right now. If you know the verse, say it out loud. Okay, now that you've said it, how many people have you told it to?
I'm super sweet and supportive. Oh, that's great, honey. My dad's like, what have you told Coach Meyer? Because he says he just likes his routines, but that dude is so superstitious, it's ridiculous. So he's like, you really need to tell him. So we were right down the street at FAU practicing. We finished our last practice for the national championship. I said, hey, Coach Meyer, can I talk to you for a second? He's like, yeah, how you feeling? Your arm good, leg good? You ready for the game? I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know the verse I wear in my eyes? He's like, yeah, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I love it. I was like, well, I'm going to change that verse tomorrow night. What? What are you talking about? You can't change that verse. That verse got us here.
That's awesome, man. People, they get so like nostalgic, right, on what's going on, man. Like, it's got to be the verse. I mean, man, anything people start connecting to, they don't want to spook the wind, man. That's funny. I didn't know that.
The thing get us here. So after a couple minutes of explaining it to him, he totally was supportive and understood. And honestly, after that, I didn't even really think about it. I just went out there and tried to win the championship game. We were blessed to win, and 2 days later I was at Ballyhoo Restaurant in Gainesville, Florida with me, my mom, my dad, my aunt, and Coach Meyer. And Coach Meyer gets a call, and he's like, all right, bye. And I was like, who is that? He said, that was Steve McLean here, is our PR guy in Florida. So what do you have to say? He said, did you know that during that game 94 million people Googled John 3:16? And honestly, my first thought was, how the heck do 94 million people not know John 3:16? Hashtag Sunday school. It's like the first thing you hear, you know? But I was just sitting in Ballyhoo Restaurant, just so humbled at how big the God is that we serve, and how he wants to do amazing things in us and through us. And when we just step out and show a little faith or a little courage, or we just decide, hey, it's okay to be a little bit different than everybody else, what God can do in our lives. And that game just happened to be in 2009, January 8th. Well, exactly 3 years later, January 8th, 2012, we just happened to be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I never even thought about John 3:16 one time, so I can't take any credit for it. I just tried to go out there and win a playoff game, and we were blessed to win this crazy playoff game in overtime. And I run in and try to, shower really quick and change because I wanted to go celebrate with my family. So I'm running to go and do my press conference really quick. And right before I walk into the press conference room, Patrick, our PR guy, jumps in front of me. He says, "Timmy, do you realize what happened?" I was like, "Yeah, we just beat the Steelers. We're going to play the Patriots. Like, let me do this." He's like, "No, do you realize what happened?" I was like, "I guess not." He said, "Timmy, it's exactly 3 years from the night you wore John 3:16 into your eyes." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And he was like, "No, you don't realize. During the game, you threw for 316 yards. Your yards per completion were 31.6. Your yards per rush were 3.16. The ratings for the night were 31.6, and the time of possession was 31.06. And during the game, 90 million people Googled John 3:16, and it's the #1 trending thing on every platform."
My God. Wow.
And I was just standing there in that hallway getting ready to do this press conference thinking that night was about a football game. And it really wasn't, because the God that we serve is such a big God. And standing in that hallway, I knew that it was something so much more. Because the God that we serve is a God of miracles, as we're going to hear today. And it's a God that does pretty amazing things in us and through us. And I think we just have to be willing to step out and say, "Here you go, God. I'm going to give you my fish and my loaves of bread," and watch what he does with it. But the God we serve can do pretty awesome, amazing things.
Hope you're enjoying the video. We'll get back to it in just 1 second. But I want to invite you into my free community called Daily Disciple. It's where I get to help you grow in your relationship with Jesus. We talk about everything: fasting, prayer. You're going to learn about spiritual warfare, everything you'd want to know on the habits in order to grow your relationship with God. And it's completely free. Just click in the link in the description below. Let's get started on growing your relationship with Jesus like never before, because we're called to be daily disciples.
I'm going to give you my loaves and my fish. What is it that God is asking? Do you feel it's too overwhelming? You feel it's too hard for you? Are you alone? What are you facing? You see, giving God the 5 loaves and 2 fish just means you're going to give him what you have. Well, Gavin, I just have a lot of debt. Hand it over to the Lord. Say, "Lord, you got to teach me how to have money. Teach me how to use it for your kingdom." Well, Gavin, I have a lot of bad things that I've done in my past. Give it to the Lord. Well, Gavin, I'm not very talented. Okay, offer him your non-talent. Well, Gavin, I'm not from the right family. Give him your past. Well, Gavin, I don't have a really great voice. I'm not very charismatic. You don't know what you have to offer until you give yourself to Jesus. It's called discipleship. If you need discipleship, I have a free community, free. It's called Daily Disciple. Click the link below in the description. There's hundreds of people right now that are growing closer to Jesus. We pray together every week. We do Q&A every week. I know these people personally. They'll become like family to you, and you'll have friends that are all going for the Lord. Come into Daily Disciple. Share this video with somebody. Tell me in the comments below what you thought about this. Pretty amazing. God bless you. Talk to you next video.